flag of the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Okay, roll call. Who's here? Marcus Ambrosi is not here. Okay. Sean Cotton.
Here.
Ellisse Thompson. Here. Kate Clapper. Kevin Nugent.
Here.
William McCoy. Here. Juli Rybicki. Ted Coutilish. Here. Diane Karabetsos. Here. Nadia Bowl is not. Ryan Ermani is on television.
Here.
Sierra Donovan. Here. Chris Stanley.
Here.
That's not here. And I am Ginny Jeup. Okay. Approval of the agenda. Do we have a motion to approve the agenda?
Motion to approve the agenda.
Second.
Okay, information and discussion. So 3.1, mission of the Community Engagement Committee and our vision. Basically we serve as a bridge between the school system and the broader community, and our primary focus is to strengthen connections that benefit both students, teachers, parents, and the community. And Chris Stanley was kind enough he's our executive director, and he'd like to speak on this.
Sure. Well, hello everybody. So in meeting with the team as we're putting this meeting together, I think one of the things that was important for us to acknowledge is it's been a couple of months since we've last met, and we know that we certainly have some continuing members here, and we also have some new members as well too on this team, so very happy to see you. If you don't mind real quick, before we get into this, if we could just do a quick little introduction. Ginny, I know that we did a roll call out there, but if you don't mind just sharing who you are, your role in the community, and what the term community means to you. It doesn't have to be overly long or anything like that, but just to kind of get us in this mindset of the reason why we're here. Kevin, I'm going to start with you.
My name is Kevin Nugent. My role in the community is as a parent and a business owner, and somebody who's involved a lot in community sports and programs and coaching. I would say that what community means to me are just all of those common threads that tie us all together, that make us part of the community, all these things that we share, common experiences, common goals, and all those things that make up, the things that you're known for, as a community.
Yep, William McCoy. I am also a parent. One of my children, actually over here now. She's not here today, so exactly what it was. Role in the community, also business owner, technology company. And what community means to me is what we have right now, right? Grosse Pointe is a great community. Something different that I experienced. I'm originally from DC, so it's very inner city. I've always dreamed about places like this to live in, and so this is what community means to me, family and people around to support the next generation.
Awesome. Thank you, Elaine.
Diane Karabetsos. I qualify as a senior, definitely. I was born in Grosse Pointe Woods years ago, and when I got married, I moved back to Grosse Pointe and raised 5 sons through the schools. They're all gone, and no one can convince me to leave Grosse Pointe, because I'm hoping they'll come back and have children one day. But I've always been involved in the community. I love the community, and I'm still involved in real estate. I work for, it used to be Johnstone & Johnstone, but it's been combined with real estate in the Pointes, and so we're opening on the hill in the old Brooks Brothers across from the library in February, and it's Real Estate 1. So there's that, and I just love the community, so I'm hoping to help out, help the schools. I'm a former teacher, taught at high school and at Wayne State, and actually at Oakland Community College, so a little bit of everything.
And special education.
Yeah.
Thank you, Diane.
Coach, special education, I don't know if you want to leave that out.
Yeah, I also coached for 20 years special needs students. So that's my proudest thing.
Juli Rybicki. My role, I'm a parent. I have my last kid, hopefully graduating in a few months. My husband's a South grad as well, so he's an alumni. What does community mean to me? Just being able to live and work and exercise and grocery shop with the people that you go to school with and that you live near and that you know, it's a small community. It's not like where I grew up, but it's been a great place to raise my kids and have our family and live, so definitely want to see it continue.
And I'm Ginny Jeup. I'm on the Grosse Public School Board. Community means to me is a place to raise your family. I moved here 22 years ago. I have 3 daughters and a bunch of family members roaming around town. Hopefully our kids all come back, raise their family here. Great place to, community is a place to go to church and, you know, and the public schools are right in the middle of that. And our kids utilize the public schools and we love it here.
My name is Ellisse Thompson. I'm an attorney by day. My role in the community, I am a product of Grosse Public Schools, married my husband, who is my high school sweetheart. We have 3 children, one who is in school right now at Berry, and I'm also an executive board member of the Daughters of the American Revolution. So I love being involved in the community. Community is very important to me. It means family, similar to what Ginny said, a place to raise your children, and I love our community very much. So,
So, I pitch myself every time I show up somewhere. Sierra Donovan, Grosse Pointe Farms resident. My resume is long, but just some of the highlights. I'll start with why, what community means to me, and simply involved, being involved. And this is how I'm involved. I'm an avid gardener, which led me to join or to be appointed to the Grosse Pointe Farms Beautification Commission, which I now chair, which led to my seat on the commission, led to me being appointed to city council. And then I eventually won a seat, elected, which is awesome. I serve on the board for the Grosse Pointe, for the Family Center, and I'm on the branding committee, and I'm on this committee now. Oh, and another big thing, I am retired federal law enforcement, and I was involved in a lot of community work as an ATF agent, and it is important for our youth to see adults that are involved and that care, and they give up their time, their resources, you know, and physically show up places. So it's a lot of reasons why I'm here, but the umbrella is being involved in the community.
Well, thank you for your involvement, Sarah.
Thank you.
Thanks for being here.
Sean Cotton. I'm on the Board of Education, the president, small business owner here in Pointe, a parent of 2 boys, one in Brownell, one in South, also alumni of South, and I think that's a hard question. What does community mean to you? I've lived in all 4 corners of the country, some of the biggest cities in the country, but this is the place I want to be forever. And Grosse Pointe is, to me, a special place, a place where my family is, where I hope they always are, and it's just it's a place that you love and that you just enjoy living at.
Ted?
Hello, everyone. My name is Ted Coutilish. I grew up in Grosse Pointe, and attended all the Grosse Pointe public schools, the Monteith, Brownell, and North. I am a distinguished alumnus of Grosse Pointe North High School. I have a son at Grosse Pointe North High School who's in special education. And Coach Diane and Coach Karen did a great job coaching them in soccer, so thank you very much.
I saw him today, I said hello.
Did you? Yeah, thank you. Did he give you a high five or anything?
No, he was getting ready for the day. So.
Okay. All right. Right now I am at University of Michigan, so you always see me in Michigan garb because I work there. Community. I think we've had some really good answers. I'm just going to leave it at, it means everything and family to me. Community is, there's a lot of different communities. There's the special education committee in Grosse Pointe that I'm part of. They were chair of the Grosse Pointe Shores and Communications Committee, so I'm a big part of Grosse Pointe Shores and all the things we do there. Now involved with the Grosse Pointe Public School System with Sean and Donovan and Ginny, helping to nudge me along the way. I am vice chair of this committee I'm a member of this committee and vice chair of the branding subcommittee. So very excited about the work that we're doing here. I've had an opportunity to work with members of the Grosse Pointe school system, Dr. Stanley, and others, and they are fantastic. We are so fortunate and blessed to be working with such fine administrators and amazing Board of Education members, and this whole process has been really exciting for me, so I will do that.
Actually, before we get to Alexa, I'll go to Ryan first. Ryan, can you still hear us?
Yes, absolutely. I'm enjoying listening to everybody as well. Ryan Ermani, I am a product of Grosse Pointe South High School. I'm a homeowner in Grosse Pointe. I've lived here for 30 plus years. I have two kids. I have an 8-year-old girl and a 7-year-old boy who go to St. Paul. You know, when we bought our house in 2014, we did so with the intention of, you know, sending our kids to Grosse Pointe Public Schools, and when it came time to send them to school, COVID happened, and you know, things got a little wonky for us. So we decided to send them to St. Paul, and I think educating our kids and the safety of a community is the two major things that any community strives for. Keep people safe and educate the kids. I think those are the two most important things in our community. What does community mean to me? I think it means the world to me. And everybody, I'm sure in this room, I think community means, you know, coming together. I think community means leaning on your neighbor. I think community means the place where you feel comfortable, the place where you want to raise your family and send your kids to school. And Grosse Pointe means all of those things, I think. And I appreciate everybody in the room, you know, trying to make it a better place. So I'm glad to be on this committee as well. And I'm also on the branding subcommittee, and I just want to be more involved. So I'm here.
Awesome. Well, thanks for being here. Alexa.
I'm Ellisse Tedeschi. I'm the communications coordinator for the district. What community means to me, kind of the same what everyone's been saying. I think family and friends and just the people around you.
Awesome, thank you. And Alexa's been doing an awesome job. She joined us in November, and she's just got great ideas, and she's killing it in the social media atmosphere. If you check that out at some point.
You do.
Good, good. So my name's Chris Stanley. I'm the Director of Learning Technology here in the district. I've been here 7 years, and I'm also a proud parent of 4 children that are here in Grosse Pointe School. I have 2 at Monteith Elementary School, 2 at Parcells Middle School as well. I've lived in the Points for collectively about 12 years going out there. So happy to be here, and what community means to me is everything that I think that this place truly represents. People looking out for each other, having those long conversations in the grocery store because you see everybody that you know when you are walking down the aisle, any of those aisles out there. It's just a great place to be. So. Okay, so thank you for that. I think that was a great opportunity for us to not only just get to know each other, but to really start thinking itself about what community truly is and the purpose why we're here. Ginny, you did a very nice job at the beginning, just kind of talking about the reason why we're here and the mission. But I think it would be a good idea for us right now, and I'm just trying to think of time, so I might switch this up a little bit. If you could take 60 seconds to write down your thoughts of what you think the purpose of this committee should be. What do you think, like as you're coming in here, you know, I know that in order to be a member of this committee, you had a conversation with somebody, you applied at some point, and now you are here to be a representative. What do you think the purpose of this committee is? If you could just take 60 seconds, I have some little Post-it notes. If you just want to take that time and write that down, what is the purpose of this committee? Oh, I did not. Turn that down. You know what, I hear you. This time's up, but it looks like some people are still writing, so please feel free to do so. Let's do this real quick. Once you're done, I always think it's a great idea for us to be able to stand up, get some oxygen to the brain. I do a lot of sitting all day, so if you guys are okay with that. If you guys stand up, I want you to get together. Okay, former English teacher, so my math is not great. I'm going to say let's get into groups of 3, but I'm not going to tell on you if you end up getting in groups of 2 or groups of 4 or anything like that. If you could get into groups of 3 real quick, let's go ahead and do that, and then I'll give you the instructions. That's what we always have to say as teachers. Find your groups first, and then I'll give you the instructions.
Will?
Say hello to your new partner. Say hello.
Are you joining your group?
Great, love it, that's fine.
Yeah.
Group of 2, group of 3.
Sean's gonna make a call.
Okay.
Can we come together real quick? You guys already jumped the gun, I love that though, that's great, you already read it. Basically, what we'd like you to do right now is we'd like you to have the opportunity to be able to share what it is that you wrote down. And after you've done that in your group of 3, together as a group, I would like you guys to share out loud what similarities you have to create a 1-sentence statement. Does that make sense? So each person should have the opportunity to just write that down. Then we want you to talk as a group what your similarities are. Write down 1 sentence. Good?
So the purpose was to be able to go between the various community members and groups and overall. That's what it was. Create ways to bring those groups together.
Yeah, I put everything on here. What did you say?
Yeah, I just say quickly, I was always trying to prove
That's
like
kind of what
students and the parents.
The same idea,
But
but
I brought it down academics, spirituality, I see this differently, whether that's leadership,
I don't know if that summarizes what you're saying. Discuss this, access to things people may need.
No ChatGPT, okay?
You can add, I don't know if I say,
Very messy, but I'll read it.
it's weird, like
According to
guys,
my kids, it's a website, but
I don't know, how do you want to say that?
because they've cracked down so hard on them for using it, you just get.
I can put it down word for word, I was just trying to
They don't use it.
summarize it, but what do you want to
But
say?
I think one of them actually blocked it on her computer. She's like, I don't want somebody else to have it. She's like, she's actually, so she can't.
Perfect, good part. Oh, you're an attorney.
You're in.
Yeah.
Yeah, I know a couple, that's what's bad.
Yeah, I just wanted to, I'm happy that you're here.
Wait,
Yeah, no,
So I do
wanna honor that you're here.
litigation, I'm a
trial
that.
attorney,
So
so,
Oh.
yeah,
I'll call you out.
product liability is listed mostly, but, I used to do,
Chris, I know
back in the
that.
day, we used to represent police departments and stuff like that. Did you, did you ever do like underwater stuff?
All the time. My whole career.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, that's
I even
cool.
went to a pilot. I did a little bit in California, the case, big cases. Okay. I did it all.
Yeah, my husband was in special forces in the Marine Corps, and I'm a big group of his buddies. When we started doing GPS stuff,
Reach to all members of the community.
Yeah.
they love it.
Okay, so
The third,
what do you want to say?
So you have kids here, or?
No, it's just me, my two dogs.
That's awesome. Yeah.
They're like children.
Oh, absolutely. Have a dog?
Four daughters.
Yours is definitely more sensible. Mine is definitely yours is right.
I need to look, I did look last week,
What
and
got
there
you
wasn't a
interested
ton.
in this?
I can see why you would say that.
Yes, thank you for that.
So my approach would be, put everything under control, and not get into the details of it, but I can certainly explain why you want to put
No,
details
you're not at all.
as well.
You're in Austin.
Were you feeling?
No, you're just.
Were you like
That, there's a lot of people, it's hard to choose one.
That's a great answer.
Yeah, I just had to bring them back for a couple of things,
Yeah.
for a presentation, and then I should see how, that should, that's such a.
So I think it's like everything else.
I think so too.
Someone says it.
Right, about 20 seconds to go.
Yeah.
Yeah, I like it. Love it.
An alarm might go off and I have the sound way up, so we'll have to see.
Okay.
Well done.
Oh, that's so cool.
I do.
Okay, I need to send Are you ready?
Yeah, well.
It's a YouTube. No, we're good. We're okay. Yeah. Nope, we're okay. I probably should have said that. So I wasn't going to go the complete 4 minutes, but as I was standing around, I saw everybody talking, whether you were done or not. You know what we were doing right there, friends? We were forming a community while we were doing this. So I thought that was really cool. So bravo to us over there. I'd like to just kind of go through this. Again, we're just thinking about this idea of the purpose of the Community Engagement Committee. If anybody would like to share, we don't have to go in a certain particular order. Who would like to go first? Ellisse.
Okay, we have for Grosse Public School System to be part of the heartbeat overall, receiving and sharing beneficial information in furtherance of increasing visibility overall, increasing involvement of existing families, and attracting new families.
That's great. Thank you. That's deep. Could I ask you, by the way, if you have that written down or not? Maybe I'll ask. Maybe I'll be asking to. I'll send an email to everybody if we can kind of collect what you wrote down. I think that's good.
Was that 60 seconds?
Yeah, me too.
That was great. I heard heartbeat.
Sean was writing fast, I was writing fast, she was writing
I
fast.
heard heartbeat. I thought it was excellent. So
That
it was
was
nice. Who'd like to go next?
Does anyone want to go next after that?
Who'd like to go next?
Yeah, we'll go.
Yeah, sure.
I just had a couple things. So we had some great ideas. Will kind of condensed it into one thought. It's a little broader than what you were saying, but maximize the depth and reach of our academic offerings, connections in the community, and opportunities for leadership for all members of the community.
Say that one more time.
Maximize the depth and reach of our academic offerings, the connections in the community, and the opportunities for leadership for all members of the community.
For all members of the community. Love that. Opportunities for leadership. Thank you. I'm going to call Nadia out too real quick because I know that we didn't get to welcome you in. So Nadia, do you just want to tell us who you are and your role here in the community?
Well, I have, my oldest son graduated from South last year and is at college now in Oklahoma. he had a great experience. And I have 2 current students at South, a junior and a sophomore. And I have an 8th grader who will be there next year. And so my 3 younger kids go to St. Paul.
Okay.
So I kind of bring a kind of a parochial school, my, viewpoint to how to attract those students hopefully into our.
Do we have a Boomer Sooner over in Oklahoma or a different school?
No, that's University of Oklahoma. He's at Oklahoma State. Sorry.
Oklahoma State.
He's a Cowboy.
Got it. Okay, thank
Yes.
you. Go Cowboys. Right.
Yeah,
That's
we beat them this year.
very school. Yeah. Okay, great.
I apologize. I
Yeah,
think
come
it's
on
starting
in.
at 4:30.
Welcome.
I looked at my
Welcome.
calendar
Do you mind just
as-
sharing who you are
I'm
and your
Kate
role?
Hopper.
Kate?
Yes.
Nice to see you,
So
Kate.
I
Kate,
apologize.
what's your role in the community, Kate? If you want
Former
to introduce-
student, former parent of a former students,
Okay.
and
Lifetime resident.
Happy to have you.
Thank you. I apologize.
so sorry.
I was late too.
So Nadia, I think I just said introduce yourself. Did you get a chance to read what you guys wrote?
Do you want to read what you wrote?
Oh, not really.
I
After that.
No, yours was good.
So we kind of collectively had pretty much the same idea, which is kind of be the go-between with community members and groups, schools, businesses, students, residents without kids, work to create ways to bring those groups together to improve the community.
Okay. Create ways to bring people together. I heard leadership throughout the community. I heard heartbeat in the community. It's good, solid stuff. Thank you.
Ryan, are you on?
I am on. I believe, this is really important to be an active listener in our community.
Okay.
What does our community want from us? What does our community want from our school system? I think listening is so important. So many times, I know in my business, all we do is talk. But I think being an avid listener to what, our parents want, to what our community wants, I think that's a big piece of this. I think making sure that everybody's voice is welcome. I think making sure feel comfortable sharing their opinions on things that are happening. And, a third piece to this is really putting an point on what we do well as a school system. Not only things that we do well, but really putting an exclamation point on our strengths.
Okay.
What we can give to families. So those 3 pieces, listen, make people feel comfortable, make sure everybody's involved in this, and of course, put an exclamation point on our strengths.
Love it. Thank you for that. Last group, Ted and Alexa.
All right, so we're communicators. We're very short in our words and very efficient in how we create words. So ours could be short and sweet and more high level. So the purpose of this committee, in our viewpoint, is to review, discuss, create, and communicate effective ways and ideas to improve the Grosse Pointe public school system and the communities it serves.
Awesome. Thank you very much. Thank you. So once again, we shared some really good thoughts over here. I think what we'd like to do next is segue into one of our big items that we feel is important to be able to cover within this community engagement. I'm going to hand these out to you, and what I'm sharing with you is the community survey that I believe was last shared in 21-22. We're going to do something with this, and we'll have the choice to either do a lot of this right now, or you guys can do some of this later, but it would be a homework assignment to you as we go along with it. Ginny, is there anything that we need to add as we go ahead and start this?
All I want to add is that I know we've done some work on this in the past with the community. Has a lot of new faces here. So Ted has been great. Julie's been here. Ellisse, Nadia, and I feel like you've taught us so much, and some of the key points with the community survey that I've taken out of all of your words. Like, what information are we seeking to gather? What are we going to do with the data that we collect? We don't want to collect data that we have no intention of using. that was a key takeaway. And with the user in mind, what action can we take to better the district with the information that we gather? So,
Jim, can we put some context to this too?
yeah,
As I
that would be
understand
great.
it, this is an annual survey that has been going out for years.
Mhm.
And it is going out to the Grosse Pointe public school system community, so students, teachers, parents, right?
Yeah.
And then they fill it out, and it's ballooned, and it's gotten unwieldy, according to Rebecca family, who managed this. It
And
just-
the residents too, to
And the
everybody in the
residents.
community.
Yeah, everyone, it just got ballooned, it just got big. And so, in doing lots of surveys, the one question that we always ask is, as Ginny just mentioned, when you have a question on a survey, what are you gonna do with the responses in that particular question? So how are you gonna use it? And if you're not gonna use those responses to make better decisions at the board level or the administrative level, then it shouldn't be in the survey. You should only edit and limit the number of questions to those expected responses that will help you make better decisions to improve the district, or University of Michigan, or wherever, General Motors, wherever you're working. That's what it really should be. And as I understand it, and as I read the survey previously, as I worked on the previous survey, there was a lot of questions in there. I didn't know how to answer them, and I didn't know how that they would improve the decision making at your level. So that's where I look at the survey.
Right, and then the other side of that is when you collect the data, we have to know how to compile it, which will be a lot of Alexa here. So making it simpler, not essay questions, but more drop-down menus and scale of 1 to 10, how do you feel about this kind of thing, so.
Right. And the reason for all of that is because the more efficient the survey, the better it will be for people filling it out. It can be daunting to complete a survey. It's going to take an hour and a half. That's just too long. Any survey should be much shorter in time to get the best results. So this is good.
And on that note, we talked about last year, whether that's 10 minutes, 20 minutes, and we were kind of in that range last.
Sweet spot, yeah.
That was the sweet spot, so we want to get this down to being able to do 10 to 20 minutes with easy fill in the blank or drop down answers. And we want to get this out sooner than later, right? We've been working on it now for about 6 months, but we've had a lot of different things to focus on. So now I can get to work. My next meeting's in 2 weeks.
Ideally, what's the most opportune time during the school year to send out a survey and then expect it to be effective?
Yeah. The opportune time is around the same time that you've sent it every other year.
Yes, right.
So we have lots of baseline, right? And so to send it at a different time, let's say, I think this goes out in the fall, to send it now is a little bit different.
Oh, it always goes out around now.
It goes around now?
The results will come back in
Okay.
the fall.
So if it always goes out around now, you want to keep that the same, because then you have it's apples to apples more than if you did it at a different time. Like you said, did it over summer, people might have a different set of feelings than you would if it's always goes out in January or February.
So with all of that in mind, and again, completely respecting all of the work that had been done previously, we thought that it was still at least a good idea for us to be able to come back and kind of revamp what we think that this should look like. Hey, how are you, sir? Hey, in person.
Wow, nice campus.
Yeah.
Is that a California campus?
It was nice out there.
Your voice is awesome.
Yeah, I've been talking
We've got a
too
couple
much.
of good weeks.
Well, timing's perfect because we're actually just segueing into talking about the survey out there, right? So, what we think was kind of important to get your feedback before we really dive into what our homework assignment is going to be. We've developed over here is just 2 Q's and a T, right? When thinking about a survey, just have 3 little areas over here. Quantity. What are some ways, and this is just to be able to ask the group, what are some ways we can get more people to respond, right? And we'll get to that in just a second because I'm going to write that down. Quality. What are some ways that we can improve some of the questions? And we're going to be taking a look at some of those current questions that are out there. As Ginny said, there was a lot of questions previously. There was about 51 total in there. And so we're going to be asking you to take a look at those. What are the ones that you like? What are the ones that you didn't think were needed because we gotta, whittle some of those down? What are some ones that you still just might have some questions about or some suggestions to? And then obviously, I think what's really important here is timeliness as well. I mean, we talked about, we presented a survey now, results don't come out until several months later. What are some things that we should be doing to be able to put out a quality survey? How long should that go out where we feel like enough people have been able to respond, all of their voices have been able to be heard, but that we can come back, collect this data, and be able to provide it in a timely manner? So basically, the big question out loud is, what do we want to know from a community survey? So I want to open this up to the group, and I'm going to take some notes over here as we're moving along with it. But want to gather your thoughts as we're looking at this. And I apologize if we're sounding a little repetitive on here, but we at least just want to be able to at least get into this mindset of going into the survey.
Could I take these one at a time? Or everyone else go first?
It's
I might have
Kate.
missed this.
Was it Kate?
Yes.
Kate,
I'm
go ahead.
very sorry. I might have missed this. This went out in 21-22. Where did the 51 questions come from? Was there a different group like this? Was it?
I apologize, I don't know that answer. I know, our communications department
I
had
can
sent that
address
out.
that, so I've talked to Rebecca
Oh,
about this.
go ahead.
So they created a survey to annually assess what people's perceptions are about the district. And then they kept building upon it, people kept throwing in different questions, and it just started growing exponentially. And so the idea was to find out what the pulse is of the community. That's how it started.
Right. I guess my question was who
Were they?
contributed the questions. So if it came, if
The
it just kind
district,
of
so it started
okay.
with the communications officer, Rebecca's, and then it went to the superintendent and administration and
okay.
board, I'm sure, added to it.
Kevin?
My thoughts I just wrote down while you were doing that. With a survey, I wanted to be direct and specific, right? So here's what I would say. I'd want to know specific survey from people that have school-aged children currently. And so if I'm taking that survey, I want it only directed to me if I have a school-aged child, and all my questions are going to be organized in that way and directed towards me. The next category I'd want is upcoming or future families. So people that have kids that are going to be entering school-aged, I'd want a survey specifically to them to know what their needs are, because they don't want to sort through 30 questions on what their second grade classroom teacher's like or that experience. The last thing I'd want to know, I'd want a subset specific to outgoing students or people that
I missed your second. What
Okay,
was the
second one, future families, future
Okay.
students. People with kids that are going to be up and coming.
Okay.
I want to identify what their needs and goals are for their
I'm
academics.
just gonna say
you know.
currently babies, I'll
Yeah.
understand what that means then.
And then I'd want an outgoing survey for people that have kids that have gone through the system or who have gone through any system, and get a basis for what they did and why.
Okay.
Can I see on that point too? I feel like an outgoing survey for students who have graduated from the system as well is useful, as opposed to just from their parents.
Yeah, I agree, 100%.
Sure they get their.
And then I think
They feel comfortable.
I'd want that survey categories to be there, and I subgrouped them, but I won't go into all of it. Academics, arts, athletics, college bound, non-college bound.
Okay.
Because I think everyone has their own unique experience, and you're weighted towards one side of things. Some people are heavily academic, some people are academic in arts, academic in athletics, but if my kid didn't participate in any of the arts over 4 years, I don't want to put NA for any questions for that. I don't even want to see it.
Okay.
So I would just say, be very specific, and have you going down paths and being able to pick paths of what you want to answer questions on and getting that data from people that were in different subcategories. And then you could have one for residents of the community who have never had kids, or like just people, you probably won't get a lot of interest from them, but you might. Those are my
Remember
thoughts.
technology?
No.
No? You just created like an amazing UI UX experience.
Yeah.
Seeing how this all
I second that.
And then I had all my subsets for academics.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
So you're talking about like one survey that sort of puts people on different paths, depending on how their first answer was?
Yeah, that like very first question being like,
Yeah.
Which survey you
Who
guys?
are
I really like that. I really like that idea because everybody's got a story. Everybody's got a why. What's your why? why do you send your kids to school? Why don't you send your kids to school? Everybody has a story to tell. And maybe there's, from that information, from all these paths, you can kind of see, once you collect all that data, what you're looking for.
And would we also look for people who've selected schools outside of the GPPSS, outside of our district?
Well, that could be like a subset of people with school-age children, that if you're either, are your children in GPPSS or have they chosen?
So how do you get their info if they're not part of the district though?
They left it out.
We put it in the paper, put it all over social media, so people can take the surveys, right? So
Yeah,
there's a
QR
big push to
code
get
or-
out
They
there.
don't have to be invited specifically,
Facebook
they
and
can log
everyone
on
could
and
just
just
Right,
do
so
it.
it's
pop it in. You got QR codes everywhere. Every
That's what I was
athletic
thinking
event.
too, the
Yeah.
QR codes, my son will come home with like one on his forehead and a water bottle. I'm like, how do they do this? And you can just like scan in the Little
Yeah.
Caesars fundraiser.
I've got a QR code there.
Yeah, that would be the QR code.
I feel like this is gonna get you better participation though,
Okay,
because I'm with Kevin, when I start reading a question, all my kids went through South, not
Sure.
a single one took art or choir. We can't sing and we're not artistic, so when I start seeing questions about that, I'm kinda like, right away. So if I can pick my path early on and, kind of go around certain topics, I don't need to talk about kids in middle school or elementary anymore.
The only
Then they kind of,
like, for me with 6 kids, some are doing arts and some aren't. Some are currently in school, some are going to be in, some graduate. So, I mean, there has to be a way to not be just relegated to one survey
sure.
and not be able to get responses.
I think just based off the conversation, we'll acknowledge there's gonna be a ton of different variables that are out there. So,
Well, let me ask you this.
you want one to be able to honor all the variables, but then also not have 300 different.
I would say, like,
Yeah.
At the beginning menu, picking, like, I wanna pick an elementary one, the secondary one,
Right.
middle school, and then I'll answer all the questions in there as.
I would be very
I,
frustrated if I
as-
was only
as a-
allowed to choose one.
Yeah,
Go ahead, Sierra.
Yeah.
As a resident with no children, right? If I received the survey and it said, right in, the beginning, do you have children or did you have children? If no, skip and go to answer.
Well, it'll
So
take
it'll
you
take
to
you
it.
there, right?
Right.
Okay. So it won't be multiple surveys. It'll be one survey packet.
It'll feel like one survey to you, right? And to every individual, from a programming standpoint, it would feel like a survey based on you. When in the beginning, everyone would answer a certain amount of questions and you go down your journey.
Right.
Does that make sense?
Yes, but it's not like it's not 6 different packets.
No.
It's one
It would be one.
survey packet.
One survey.
So there'd be,
Because I've never received
there'd be a drop-down menu.
Well, This is,
Alright,
everything
so
would be
is this too
digital, this is
complicated,
just a
or is this
representation.
doable?
Yeah, it was on the show.
This is pretty
Maybe
good.
getting a
Oh, Alexa, go ahead. What's that?
Sorry, I was responding to an email. It sounds very pick your own adventure, so I don't know how simple that's gonna be.
It's pretty simple.
I just have to look on
It's not hard.
Survey Monkey to see if
it's not.
it's capable.
So if we had a drop-down menu, I'd get a different survey than we would.
I think
Okay,
what
so you
we're
do this for a living,
yeah.
is that?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay.
I think what we're doing right now is we're gathering all the thoughts that are over here, and then we're able to go back and go, okay, what is it that we're able to do?
And I can.
Yeah, we don't want to freak Alexa out yet.
Yeah.
She started
It
too
sounds
much.
simple to me. It's like, oh,
I need Alexa here.
Part of that is like the result of any survey though, I guess I would ask, how do you weight that? How do you weight, if
That's
1,000 people in category A took the survey, but 20 people in category B took
Correct.
the survey, how would you kind of weight, if you have 5 surveys out there, but the same amount of people don't take the survey.
It's still a
Well,
snapshot. Of
Yeah,
It's still
no,
okay. It's
yeah,
okay,
good.
'cause it depends on your goal, if it's
Yeah.
marketing or
Right.
family.
Because that's representative of the community.
Different than
We
those.
could all go to South, but we don't all take art.
Got it.
Right, I would
Well,
say
for
too
the-
that, like, there's a broad view, right, and then a level of specificity to get into some of the categories,
Got it.
and just not dragging everyone into this.
Perfect. No, I love the idea. I love the idea.
So I think what we're getting towards is, from what it sounds like, we very much could get more people to respond when they see something like this. They're like, hey, that's me, right? I don't have to rifle through any of this or go through the weeds. This is me, so I think that answers the quantity part. I think that can also get us towards a quality piece too. The next question would be timeliness. Like how, go ahead, Ted, yeah, please.
From previous fall community engagement discussions, there was an issue that was brought up about anonymity, and there was a problem with the previous survey, and union members feeling like they were told that their information would be kept confidential, and it wasn't, and people found out about it. I don't understand because I wasn't part of that, but that's what was
that was
explained
different.
here.
That was the teacher survey. That wasn't the community.
I understand
survey.
that, but then the same people are filling this out too, right? They have some of that legacy misfeelings, or no?
They more felt like if you saw what the sentence they wrote was, that you could say, okay, I think I know
Hold
which
it against
teacher
them,
that
right.
is.
I mean, there's only one director of learning technology here.
Right.
So.
So how?
Oh, exactly.
That's the question. If I could just, if you go to how do we get more people to respond, if that is some of the feeling by some of the people,
Sure.
then that has to be resolved. Like, is this a confidential survey? Will any of your responses be used against you somewhere?
I did remember to address that from last year, and I've just been rewriting just the beginning, of it. I won't go over with that yet, but I did put in there, your responses are confidential, but the combined results will be openly discussed and used to improve our schools.
Okay.
So I feel like if that sentence is in there, and you have a big problem taking that, then just don't.
You can also encrypt data, right? Like, I mean, you can randomize anybody's name or whatever else it should be, even master IP. So that there's no issues of like, who's that? You can literally program it and say, hey, look, we don't know who this is who took the server.
I mean, to that point though, I think anything, like if a school district were to create a survey, it's a public entity, so any of that is foiable, you know what I mean? And so I think that's just if that's what we're talking about at that point.
I think we're talking about managing expectations.
Right.
So whoever's gonna look at this data, can this comments, not specifically the ratings, but can the comments come back to hurt me as an employee, as a parent, as somebody?
Yeah.
That's what we have to clear up. And we have to
Sure.
assure. So this is about trust and managing expectations. Is it confidential survey or not?
So is it
An
confidential?
example that was given this fall is if I have a comment about the high school choir program, for instance, that's gonna significantly narrow my audience
Of course, yep.
Survey takers, because it's such a finite group. And depending on how you phrase that, whoever's reading it may be able to tie it back to a specific person, and then your anonymity is shot. So.
Can you leave out the comments?
Well,
Yeah,
generally.
so if we remove, we're gonna try to remove
Just
and make it this
ask questions.
10-minute,
Exactly.
quick, easy thing. Before, we had essays, so it could have been, you could have been, saying,
Right.
Oh, I know that's Bob.
Ginny,
Right.
the worst case ever, and, can tie it back to somebody, you're not doing that.
And one of the reasons we want to take out comments is it slows down the results of the survey significantly. And this is something that we're hoping to have a quicker turnaround on and not have the open-ended comments that we had last time.
Yeah, because most of the time then it's just a human that has to analyze a lot of that stuff. I know technology has changed, but it would be a human having to read all those comments that are out there and then,
Just give that
how
to
to
AI.
analyze that. Yeah. I mean, timeliness of this, I guess if we have a quality survey that's out there, and we want enough people to respond, I think what we stated before was we had a survey that was going out this time last year, but then results wouldn't come back for quite some time later. What do you think is a reasonable expectation to be able to have that survey go live, collect enough data out there, because I think that you should have a date at least.
So in higher
Maybe a
education,
month? Is that too short?
no. In higher education, the rule of thumb is 1 month.
Okay.
With the initial questionnaire going out, and then 2 reminders. One 2 weeks away, and then one the week of, giving someone a last chance opportunity to fill it out. So that's typically the way it works in education.
Can you do like the night before? That's
can do whatever you want. Just give it to, give it a couple of days usually.
Night before can be tough because then you'll always hear from someone saying, I wasn't able to do this, can you just leave it open for one more day?
I was in
It's like,
Hawaii.
okay, maybe I will, and then it just stays open
You
for a
can't
year,
stay
you know?
open.
Yeah, it can't.
Is there any type of reliable verification process as well to make sure that only Grosse Pointe residents
Yeah,
are
that's what we
doing
do, too.
this?
And each parent's
Because, I
only
mean,
doing
if you're
it.
sticking a QR code on social media or the newspaper, anywhere, anybody can do this, and it's not a true reflection of our community. It's
Well,
always
the email goes out to just the Grosse Pointe community, correct?
It does, but I mean,
Just
so
email.
if we're talking about some of these categories that are out there, like people with kids who have graduated, right? I think it'd be tough to go, hey, community member, we've now created this special code for you to be able to log into. I mean, it's a good question. I don't know how feasible it would be to do that. Yeah, because you're absolutely right. Once it goes out there, I mean, anybody's gonna be able to take that.
Can the parent surveys be like through the parent portal or something?
Okay, but
Right,
yes,
the
but that's a
login.
link that you can log into, but then once
Right,
it's.
but that won't help you on the community at large, but with the parent piece of it, if I can't log into my kid's portal, I
Okay.
can't take the survey.
How about this? I'm gonna write this down. I'm gonna say secured. Question mark.
You said that they get it via email, so email and then this portal, parent portal.
Typically how surveys work, at least in higher education, is that you get an email, be invited to the survey. It's not a QR code, it's not on a newspaper, it's not on Channel Fox 2, we don't put it out there anywhere but to your targeted audiences, which is the Grosse Pointe Public School System community, parents, students, teachers, whoever you've got addresses for. That's the ones you send it out to. So it's really not a problem. There's not a whole lot of people out there looking to take a University of Michigan survey and then kind of foil our survey and foil our results. Same one would be here. It's just the people you send it out to will complete it, and there's certain percentages of the people who will never complete it, whether they work for General Motors, Ford, or the University of Michigan. The average is typically 3 to 6% would complete it, depending on what it is. Here it might be a lot higher because it's sending it out to a lot of people who are interested in filling out this survey.
I think as we work as a committee, paying attention to that 3 to 6% and trying to, increase that as we go, that's, that'll be a measure of our success or,
Yeah, we'll be a lot higher than that.
So
Yeah,
just say I
you
make a
just say-
prediction would be
Yeah,
like
yeah, really.
25%.
Yeah, now if you're sending out a survey, your Cheetos, and you're sending a survey and you got 3% of your target audience to respond, you're doing great.
One concern with like the portal is you're immediately not able to get future students, even parents of the preschool, you're not in the portal system.
Right.
You're not in the larger, so we would lose people.
What if they get an email?
I feel like
Because
certain
everyone
but
gets
some
an email?
trust, I mean,
Yeah, it's whoever's on your list that you send this out to.
so like
You have-
future students, we wouldn't have, their email per se.
But you wouldn't also put it in the papers and social media and no?
I would.
Okay.
It's just for the Grosse Pointe Public School System, and that's me.
Mhm.
If I'm doing a University of Michigan survey, why would I
Can you
send
send
out
it
to
to
all
all
Well,
the
this is why,
residents, all the
just say we wanna
households?
take on
Because you have
enrollment.
taxpayers
Right.
and residents.
Right, so
Right.
we wanna track
Right.
enrollment, and now we wanna try to figure out where are these 40% or 35% that live in this area and do
Right,
not
right.
send their kids to school.
How do we get
I mean,
that?
a
So,
local
We
newspaper,
want
maybe?
to know their thoughts, we wanna know what they're thinking, why they're not,
So that's a
what
wider
would make
survey.
them.
That is a wider survey.
But they're gonna check that box at the top, right? I'm not a parent, or I'm a parent of a future student, so.
But they might not get the email.
Or in my case, I
Right,
wouldn't
that's
get that
why-
Yeah,
email.
right.
Right.
That's what I'm
Right.
saying, I think we should email it to the community, not
Yeah.
necessarily on the side of a bus, but, in the libraries and the police station.
So you can
Yeah,
get those
I
email
agree.
addresses from the actual Grosse Pointe communities. So for example, in
Right.
the Shores, we have email addresses for those who have volunteered to give us their email addresses, which is a lot different than those who are school district. Grosse Pointe Shores is a really old community, and there's not a lot of people going to the Grosse Pointe Public School System. So those addresses could be available via Grosse Pointe Shores, just like Farm City, but.
So you could, somehow through media, social media, encourage residents to register their email through their municipality?
No,
I'm
so
not
I'll
suggesting
give-
that.
I'll give an
I'm suggesting
example.
it from the municipalities.
Right.
Go to City Hall,
Right.
Right.
in each one of those 5 communities, ask them for the emails, saying that we're just using it
Can we-
not for
Okay,
advertising
so
purposes.
Yeah, can we do that?
Sure, why not?
That's great.
You can ask for anything you want, they can say no, but you can ask.
So like at Pier Park in the farms, to get a park pass, you have to live in in the city. The police department verifies your residency, and then at the park, they have your email address on file. Now, that's a good question though, would they be willing to share?
Yeah, so for example,
But that's one way we could also
Right.
capture,
Right.
I'll go back to the
residents'
shores.
emails.
So I'm communications chair, I would go to the mayor, the city manager, excuse me, and the city council, and I explain to them what we're doing, how we're not using it for advertising purposes. I have access to the 1,400, there's 3,300 residents in Grosse Pointe Shores. We send out a newsletter to 1,400 of them. I've got those emails. If they say yes, then we can include that. So why not do that in all 5 communities? If you wanted to broaden this, then you don't have to work for it. You don't have to put it in the newspaper. Don't fund it.
That's
But you don't have to put it anywhere else. And you just got all those emails. Now that's not everyone in the community. That's those who have volunteered their email addresses, which are mostly concerned citizens who would be more likely to fill out a survey rather than people who haven't given their emails who may not likely be.
What about just a door-to-door, sending out a leaflet, having some, any through each mailbox?
That's-
The cost of
Because it
that,
has to go through the
I
mail.
just estimated, it's like $52,000 to 50,000 households.
It's not cheap, there's a budget that needs to be involved.
Even if you just print it on a piece of paper and have students distribute it, NHS on your hours, NHS on your hours.
Could you have a link in the survey when a person's done, where they could send it to someone else? Do you know anyone with young children or someone moving in?
I mean, the hope is to get people to answer the survey,
Right.
and the next step would be like, okay, did you answer the survey, and then send it out to somebody else.
Forward
I
it,
think it's
yeah. And then they have to say they're a resident. Right.
Well, there's demographics. There's demographic questions when you look at it.
Yeah.
And so the idea is that you're self-identifying.
Yeah.
Are you a parent? Are you a resident? Are you a teacher? And that would be part of it. And the reason you have the demographic information is because if you want to break down the responses by the category. So, for example, how do teachers answer this question versus parents answer this question versus students? And then you can see there's some differences in how they answer the questions, and that could help you to make better decisions as a board.
So let's go back to, because right now we're just talking about like how to broaden this a little bit. Let's go back a little bit to, Ginny, you stated a couple of items out there right before we got into this about like how long we feel a survey should be, how many questions there should be. Go ahead and do that, and then Alexa, I did see that your hand was up.
Yeah, I don't live here, so I don't know how like the communication is. In Macomb Township, we sometimes get like little updates from our city. So do you guys get email updates from your cities at all?
I get a water bill.
So,
even like parks and rec
If you're on the email
activities.
list, I'll get like water main break at whatever, you know.
Because if they have like
That's like
newsletters or parks and rec activities that go out, couldn't we just have them include something in there?
Potentially, yes.
That's a good
So I
idea.
go back to Grosse Pointe Shores, I manage all those
Yeah.
communications. So I send out a monthly newsletter that I create, and then I send out other updates. It's like,
Yeah.
right, plus I have Facebook and Instagram. And
Yeah.
those are updated daily. So our communication, residents in our community are very well updated.
And
I
what,
can't tell you from the other end.
what you could also do is coordinate it with all the municipalities, because we send out updates all the time.
Yeah, so could we
And
just
coordinate
talk?
that when we
So
send out an
fire
update,
Versus
so if we were
district,
sending out an update about leaf collection,
Okay.
right,
for the farms, you're talking
for the
about.
farms. On that date, we would also include what she's saying, the survey information.
So rather than us
That's
having
a
to
great
get their
idea.
email addresses and do the work ourselves,
Yes.
we just ask them, we put it on blast, and they just do it.
Well,
Love it.
All 5 cities on the same day or whatever, like.
It doesn't even have to be exactly on the
Right.
same day,
I
but
agree.
like the next, yeah, they send
Right.
something out.
Good to know.
so what
Alexa
I like,
Tedeschi, everybody.
yes,
Oh.
pardon me,
I said Alexa Tedeschi.
yes,
Yeah.
it is,
Yeah.
if they would do it. And, you know, I'm big on partnerships, and we always say, well, now that I'm on council, you know, I do hear this, because the farms are so well ran, right, our city administrators, and we take care of this at the council table. We hear this all the time. why can't you all partner with the school district? We hear that all the time. And so that's why the work that's being done now is so important, because I'm gonna champion once you go to our city manager, that this is what we talk about when we talk about partnerships. So we can't back out of this now. You know, we all are in this, we all said it, the community means us, right? We all have to be willing participants for the overall community and our children, their future. So that's good. April?
Alexa.
Let's go back to Ginny real quick, because I think what we're doing is a really nice job talking about, like, how do we get more people to respond, and that's super important for us to focus on. I think we should go backwards a little bit, if that's okay, to talk about, before we even reach out to everybody, what should that survey look like? So Ginny, could you just kind of repeat a little bit, like some of the points that you brought up prior?
Yes, like what information are we seeking to get out of the survey? What are we gonna do with the data once we collect the data? So, there was a lot of questions in here. As you go through it, you'll see, it really just, there's nothing we would ever do with it, right? Just got added in there somehow, some way, for some reason in the past.
You had something in there though about like how many questions there should be or how long it should take.
Oh, yeah, we should keep it to the survey questions to a max of, 12 minutes, something like that, right? We gotta keep it between 10 and 20 minutes is what we.
How does this group feel about a number like that? Yeah.
I also want to put this in context. We're going to talk about branding in a minute. There's going to be branding surveys. There's going to be branding focus groups. There's going to be one-on-one interviews. This is going to happen before those, obviously, with the time level. But we have to make sure that we're
About 5
thinking
minutes.
about it and making sure that this doesn't duplicate what the branding firm that's chosen is going to do.
Well, that's always, yeah.
So we don't want to
Those balances that you have to take a look at.
I mean, you can answer 6 questions a minute on this thing. You know what I mean? When you what
Yeah, when you're going through.
when you're going through it, what grade is my kid in?
Right.
Stuff like that. I mean, what age are you? Who's completing the survey? I mean, these are all, what is it, 50 questions on here? I mean,
51.
51.
Yes.
And that was down from how many? We had more than that, right? Before?
No, the 51 is what we started with.
Started.
I got it down to 18,
Oh,
but,
good.
and then a lot of other stuff happened when we kind of, everything got put on hold. So I could send out what I had and just, narrowing it down from saying is excellent, above average, average, below average, poor. So doing the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, or what's your top 3 positive attributes about the district instead of letting people handwrite that in. They can pick 3 out of a list of 20. Right, so then we can take the 20 and analyze, well, most people said, or 62% said X, whatever it is.
I believe the previous circle took me 51 minutes because there was a lot of fill in the blanks.
It was
Required
all
all
fill in the blanks.
Yeah, fill in the
That
blanks.
was too long. It's 50
Nobody
minutes.
wants to do a fill in the blank.
Okay, I have a question.
I think we get it down to 5-10 minutes, really.
Like,
Nobody wants to do
in
it.
looking at
Like to say.
the survey, and it's so specific. So a question like number 28, would you give the quality of education, what grade would you give the quality of education that our school is providing? Okay, so say they give it an A, right? Why now do we need to know, if the parent is saying, yes, my child is getting a quality education, right? Now, why do we then need to know before that answer, are they prepared for reading, writing, arithmetic, blah, 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 blah? Why do we need that specific information instead of that general? So either we have a general survey or a specific survey, and if we have a specific survey with all these different things, that's gonna take quite some time to complete. But could we do a general survey?
Yeah.
And the reason why I'm asking is because we are doing all this branding stuff, right?
Will be,
Pardon me?
will be,
We will be.
shortly.
But couldn't some of this information come from the actual teachers themselves? Because they have the grades.
Well, I think we're asking the community how
Yeah,
would you
if
grade
if
the
it were on
district.
a letter basis.
Right,
Quality
which they
education that
should.
your school is providing. But I don't know how I'd answer that if I had students in 3 different schools, because I might have 3 different answers to that question.
Well,
I
what
might get-
schools? Well, you could put the schools there,
But we don't right now.
We do.
but we could.
We're doing it at 28.
It asks for,
Yeah.
not 28, but it asks which schools.
Like you could say,
Right,
which
but
schools
To answer
are
a
your
specific
children,
question,
or
which
have your
schools are
children
you answering
attended?
for?
And
That's what I
then,
wouldn't know how to do.
did they receive a quality education? But now to go into all the specifics, I'm just asking that question, where we could get that information from the teachers. I don't know if the parents.
Because I think it's
well, I
the
should
parent's
say.
perspective, right? It's
Yeah,
not,
the
you're
parents
not
are
asking the
different.
teacher how the kids are doing, you're saying, Julie, how do you
Right.
feel the Grosse Pointe schools did? And I don't think you can give them one grade, because to somebody else's point, I have 3 kids at 3 schools.
There you go,
Maybe I
right there.
think
It's
one
too
school
complex.
is killing it,
Right,
and I think another school,
that's not.
but I also wanna know in each category. So if you look at the middle schools or the high schools, you have different teachers. So I can say my kids are amazing in English, they're fantastic writers, they can spell, but in the history area, I feel like maybe we could, I don't think you can give them one overall grade. How do you think and to Ginny's point, going back, what are you gonna do with that question?
Okay,
Overall,
so-
we rate our schools a B. What does that mean?
Right.
Okay, so
How
I'm-
do you make better decisions?
We're not
I
gonna do
have
anything
one
with
hard
that,
question
so.
here. And don't get mad at me, but I hear this a lot. The parents are not engaged. So then the survey is now skewed with somebody saying, well, they don't know how to read. So are we assuming then that our parents filling out this are engaged? They are aware of what their children are doing in school because they're involved. That's a hard question.
It is,
I'm
it's
sorry.
very valid.
It's a very valid question, and because we know that there's a drug issue here, and there's blinders on. So the hard question, I do ask those hard questions in being in law enforcement. So I would say that's great if we are confident that the parents filling this out are being fair because they are involved. We would have to assume that, just like in those branding
It's the
proposals we're
expectation.
looking at. Assumptions.
Right. It's the expectation that they're being.
They answer the survey, they're involved.
Typically, parents that aren't engaged
And
aren't gonna
it's a
take the survey.
reinforcement, like sometimes you'll ask the same question 2 different times to see if it's consistent. You know what I'm saying?
Well, and possibly the parents that answering the survey too are the ones that have a bone to pick, whereas you can be engaged, but you think you don't have anything
Right.
to critique, so you're just not gonna bother filling it out.
That's absolutely correct, Nadia.
Right.
I mean, like, you do get a variance of people that are choosing to, answer a survey. Like, it's, a lot of times people are answering a survey because they truly feel passionate in some way or the other, right? They're passionate because they absolutely love it, or they're passionate, they're upset about something too,
Bone to pick.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, that absolutely happens.
I was just thinking of how could we cut it down? We have to
Right.
decide
Yep.
what questions will be eliminated out of these 50.
That's what we're asking.
Actually,
Yeah,
so
that's
that's a
the
perfect segue. I think that's a really good
So now
segue
this
into.
is-
Look at it down to 8.
This is not many.
Well, that's good.
This is the original one.
This is the original. Yeah.
So, Chris, we'll do that as our homework.
Perfect. Yeah, I think what a great homework is. I know. Did you guys see the 20 minutes up there and you went, oh no. So I think a homework assignment, what we'd like to ask you to do, and I do see, and very happy that the public is back here, and I saw people that were doing the QR codes. This is specifically for people that are on this committee. We're asking you to take a look at this survey from 21-22, and you have a physical copy of this for you. While you're taking a look at this, as your homework assignment, if you could circle the questions that you liked, X the questions that you didn't like, and put a question mark some of the questions that you're unsure about. That's just for you. If you've got a different way of doing it, please by all means. But more importantly, then we just created a quick little Google form for you. And within that Google form, we'd like you to be able to go through, I literally listed down 20 through 51 So it looks a little long, but it won't take you that long, I promise. I asked you to put your email, your first name, your last name. Based on the survey, I believe that we should keep the following questions. Based on the survey, I believe that we should remove the following questions. Overall, I believe the following additional questions should be included, so feel free to add that in there. What suggestions would you like to make if we were to redo the survey? And then please feel free to add anything else that might be on your mind.
Would you be able to send us a link?
Yeah, I will absolutely send this over to the group as well too. So that's your homework assignment. We are asking if you could complete that. The turnaround time is rather quick because I know that we're meeting again on February 14th.
It's February 13th.
Oh, it's 13th.
4 p.m. Yeah, we don't have to do the Valentine's.
We wanted to get Valentine's. I had Russell Stover chocolates for everybody.
Thanks for reminding me.
Yes, we just changed it to February 13th.
February 13th. Okay.
4 p.m. here at Bar.
So we are asking if you could have that completed by February 7th. That's going to be good feedback. So I believe that's 1 week from today. If you could do that and just have that submitted, and that'll come straight to us, and we can dive in a little bit more, so that can help us, further think and develop what we think that this survey should look like. But really, we want to be able to develop something tangible that's going to come out of this group. And so this is going to be kind of one of our big rocks that we're looking to take care of. Kevin?
Can I just ask?
I read body language. I was like,
Yeah.
it looks like you want to say something.
No, I'm just, to Ginny's piece about what we're gonna do with the information, like, someone was talking about academic growth, academic data. I think we collect a lot of academic growth and data through testing services and other things. I'm not sure that I would want an individual opinion on an overall scope of academic growth or that. I'd wanna know what their feeling was about their classroom environment, their instruction, facilities, safety, communication, all of those areas where we can improve on those things as that information comes in. I don't know how we can improve on, that's why I think the elimination of comments is great, because we're almost leading someone to tell us about their worst event that they had or something like that, which we don't need. You want to have quick data points to describe. So where do we need to improve facilities? Where do we need to improve communication? Where do we need to improve instruction? Are all the data that I would want as a teacher, the data that I would want as an administrator, somebody setting budgets. That's the data I would want, to capture the overall feel of what people want from our district. I just don't want to caution when we're talking about questions of what we really want to get into in terms of the responses, and where the responses will be the most meaningful would be in areas that we can improve on or take that information. And I think that it's got to fall in certain areas.
Sure. That's great feedback. Well, thank you for this. I think we just have a couple of other items that we're going to cover, and we will
Wrap up. Okay, thank you. All right, Ted, you were kind enough to say you would give us an update on the branding.
Happy
Thank
to.
you.
So if you are on the branding committee, so this will be repeat, but we're making great progress with the branding effort. So last fall, we met with the branding subcommittee. Why it's called the subcommittee? It is a subcommittee of this committee. This is the community engagement committee. Branding is reporting to this committee. So as a committee that reports to this committee, here's the update. We we likened the school district to a car. And we went around and had everyone do that homework assignment. So we identified specific characteristics of the cars that we chose to the district. A really interesting collection of thoughts. This will help the branding committee that's chosen, the branding firm that's chosen down the road to help us create an effective brand campaign. So late last fall, we put out a RFP. The RFP was reviewed by, request for proposal, was reviewed by the committee, and we had a lot of great suggestions. We improved the RFP, sent it out. We had 8 companies that responded, and Chris and I think Sean, met with this group. I don't know if you were part of that, Jenny.
With the questions.
The questions, And so they asked a lot of good questions for about an hour. We gave them a month to turn around a proposal. 9 companies actually did, and 6 of them were qualified. 3 of them just didn't meet all the requirements for the bid that are specified by the school district. So we have 6 companies, and we created a scorecard for the entire brand subcommittee to go through. There are 11 categories, 6 different firms, and they're asked to grade each one of the firms on those specific categories, and then add comments on each one of the categories. And so why the scorecard? Scorecard is a really great way, it's a best practice to identify the strengths and weaknesses of each proposal and to really hone in on specific ways each member of the committee assesses, not feels, but assesses each part of their proposal. I've gone through all 6 proposals, read them carefully, and finished my scorecard. It is quite a lengthy process, but it works, and we're collecting that information. We're going to send out a reminder to get more responses.
Might ask the chair to do that.
Yep, there you go, Chair. Yeah, more homework for you. And then, so we have till Valentine's Day, February 14th, to collect all those responses. And then it's up to the board and the administration to ask 2 or 3 of those highest graded and most liked comment firms to come back and do a presentation to the whole community. So everyone here in the community will have an opportunity to review these presentations. And the idea is for the board to select one company to manage it. And I've read hundreds of these over the years, and we have 6 strong companies. There's no company that didn't come through that's not strong. So we have a tough decision to make. Any one of the 6 companies will do an excellent job of creating an effective and powerful brand campaign that will change the future of our district forever. And so we have a wonderful opportunity this time to select the best fit for our group. So the way it works is the scorecards will come to the administration and the board. They'll review, they'll pick the top 2 or 3 to come back, do presentations. From there, they will select, or the board will select the top company to come in and work. And so there'll be a ton of work that'll be done. There'll be survey, focus groups, one-on-one interviews. There'll be things that come out through the wash of the research that we know about. We know our strengths, we know our weaknesses. It'll come through. There are things that will come through, and this is from every brand survey we've done and research, that we don't know about. Like you mentioned a couple of things that no one's talking about. They may come through. You mentioned the drug problem. You mentioned other issues that may or may not come through, but people will respond. And it's not surveying. It's surveying, focus groups, one-on-one interviews. It's the entire wash of this, and then they're going to review historical data. They're going to review results of this survey that we're talking about here. So they're going to review a lot of information, and they're going to present information that's new to the district. This is discovery phase. It is discovery, and there are things that I worked at other universities, and there are things that come up that you just didn't know, and you're like, oh my gosh, I didn't know this was going on. And it comes through the wash. And it's not about marketing. It's about helping to make better informed decisions because there's new information that's presented to the district that's outside of the scope of marketing communications. And so from there, that'll help us make better decisions as a district. That'll help us to create a single, powerful brand campaign that will improve perceptions inside and outside the district, that'll make teachers feel better about being here and being employed, that'll make students that are current students feel better about their decision to continue to enroll here, that'll make students who are not here more likely to choose coming here and making some of those decisions, right, maybe to come back to our district. And so that's what we're looking at. We're looking at a teacher asked me about branding the other day. And she said, I just don't get it. I don't get why we need it. And I explained it to her as branding is like our school district. It's not, our school district is not about new student enrollment. New student enrollment is a piece of our school district. There are facilities, there are teachers, there are administrators, there are custodians, there are people who feed the students. It's a huge, wide entity that's called the Grosse Pointe Public School System. That's branding. It's huge, it's wide, it's big. It includes new student enrollment, but it's not only new student enrollment. It's a piece of it. And so new student enrollment will increase. Image perceptions will increase. Positive feelings will increase. If you don't believe me, then there are hundreds of millions of examples at other institutions where, not just in public school districts, but community colleges, universities, where branding has increased enrollment, and branding has increased positive perceptions, branding has increased good feelings by employees. It's just a proven method that's used by companies, school districts, universities, inside of education, outside of education, to improve their products, services that offer.
So we're on a fun adventure. Right now. Yeah. Thank you, Ted.
I'm off my branding high.
Okay, any new business?
Just February 13th, 4 p.m. the next meeting.
I'll probably do the same thing for a half hour. I'll be on and then I'll be here.
Okay. Did that work out okay?
Yeah, perfect.
Great.
Yeah.
Public comments?
I'd just like to say that Chris runs an amazing meeting. Wow, you guys are lucky to have him. Meeting as a community, we're lucky to have him.
Thank you.
I've not seen him in action like that. So, and then the rest of you guys, thank you very much for doing this.
You give her name.
Jan Reindress?
Anyone else? Anyone else? No, you're good? Okay. Okay, community member, anyone have any comments? Or do you wanna go around or just wrap this up? Since we
I
kinda
just want to
ran
say
over?
thank you. Amazing, everybody's participation. We know that everybody's time is valuable and this is exciting. It was a really, really great meeting.